Hi, this is Daryl Meyer from Keller, Texas. Today is Thursday, February 11th, 2010. Well, I guess you've heard by now what Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad has said that was supposed to be a blow to the West. Basically, the only blowing is him blowing smoke again, because what he said was something we already knew. In fact, I reported on it like 2 or 3 days ago. Anyway, in case you haven't heard, Iran came out today saying they are now a nuclear state, whatever that means. The punch to the West that Iranian President Mahmoud Ahmadinejad promised to deliver on the anniversary of the Islamic Revolution is this: that Iran has become a nuclear state producing its first highly enriched uranium. Iran had already enriched uranium to 3.5% purity, but recently began to operate centrifuges that would enrich the nuclear fuel to 20%, supposedly for medical research reactors. Yeah. Anyway, this isn't quite the punch that I was thinking it was going to be. This really was pretty weak in my opinion, because we already knew this. We knew this days ago. Ahmadinejad also said that the Natanz facility was capable of producing over 80% uranium. Okay, why would they need that? Because typically uranium is considered weapons grade at between 85 and 93% purity. So why would he need to continue to enrich it? In another story, pretty much the same thing from Mail Online, dailymail.co.uk, says same thing. Iran is now a nuclear state. There's a lot of protests going on in Iran right now. Security forces are using tear gas and paintballs on opposition protesters. Opposition leaders have been attacked. Gordon Brown warns that the world's patience is wearing thin. How far does this man have to go before we finally do something? All this talk isn't going to do anything to stop them. All these sanctions, not going to do a thing. We're going to have to use force. That's the only thing he understands. Somebody's going to have to step up. Here's the two options we have. Accept Iran as a nuclear power, or take military action against them. Those are the only two options. Nothing else will work. So either accept them and say, oh yeah, go ahead and have some nuclear weapons, Iran. Yeah. Is that safe? Do you know what this guy believes? Ahmadinejad is a Muslim who believes that this 12th Imam, who was lost in a well in the 12th century, or was it 12th century? 9th century, long time ago, they believe he's coming back and he will be their Messiah, their Mahdi. And in order for him to come back, they have to create global chaos. And what better way to do that than with nuclear bombs just showered all over Europe, Middle East, America, wherever. This is what they believe. He firmly believes this. And it goes against everything my Bible tells me is true. That's one of the false prophets, this whole Muslim thing. Which, you know what, today I'm going to do 2 videos, because I will not have time in this one video to cover the things I'm going to cover at the end. So please watch them both, because my next one is going to be talking about Islam and Muslims, what they believe, why they're so dangerous, and why they can't be ignored. Anyway, Ahmadinejad goes on to tell everybody that he's got 20% enriched uranium and has the capacity to enrich it to far higher levels, which, again, for just nuclear power, you don't have to enrich it to the weapons grade power, but you watch. I guarantee you they will reach 80, 85, 90%, probably within a couple of months. Just saying. So, here we go. You guys ready for this ride? Anyway, let me read you another story. This is kind of on the same thread, but different. I don't know if you're familiar with Geert Wilders. He is the Party for Freedom in the Netherlands region. He is on trial in his native Holland, charged with 5 counts of discrimination against Muslims and similar offenses. He says that it's not he who's on trial, but his freedom of speech that's at stake. In an exclusive interview, Wilder says, "I'm fighting for one thing, the preservation of our culture, which is based on Christianity, Judaism, and humanism, and not on Islam. While Islamization of our society grows, the political elite looks in the other direction and ignores the real problem, namely the impending loss of our freedom. I am not fighting against Muslims, but rather against the influx of a totalitarian ideology called Islam." Amen, brother. Speak it. When they asked him if he was being cited for generalizing about Muslims, Wilders responded that he does not talk about Muslims per se. He goes on to say, "I know the majority of Muslims are not terrorists, but are rather law-abiding citizens. Islam is the problem. In Islam, there is no room for anything else but Islam. And therefore, at the end of the day, we will lose everything we stand for." He goes on to say, "I visited almost every Islamic country, and I know that everywhere Islam is dominant, there's one common denominator, and that is a loss of freedom, especially for Jews, women, non-Muslims, etc. We have to stand up and say that whoever wants to replace our ideology and culture with Islam is not welcome to stay." Amen, brother. We need more people that stand up and speak the truth instead of being politically correct mamby-pambies, okay? Wilders goes on to say, "Islam is more an ideology than a religion. It wants to dominate every aspect of the state and of people's lives and cannot tolerate criticism." You got that right. I get a little fired up about this. Here's this guy on trial for saying something against Islam. And really, freedom of speech is on trial in Europe. He says, "People must know that I, a democratically elected politician who does not employ violence and the like, am being put on trial for speaking my mind and for making a movie, the movie Fitna, that simply quotes the Quran itself. There must only be one outcome for this trial, and that is a full acquittal, and if not, Europe will pay a heavy price." Wilder said that the Israeli-Arab conflict is not, as some believe, an issue of territory. If Israel would give back land, nothing would change. In truth, it's a conflict of ideology. Theirs is an ideology of hatred that wants to conquer the free world. Israel is like the canary in our coal mine. We cannot afford to lose Israel. I'm starting to like this guy more and more all the time. He noted that the media in Holland is largely against him and that his trial is totally not fair. Of the 18 witnesses he wished to call in his defense, the court only allowed 3, and even those 3 will only be heard behind closed doors. He says, "How can I defend myself under such circumstances?" In conclusion, he said, "Many of our politicians in Europe are simply afraid. They are appeasers. There is a lot of fear and a lot of political correctness, and the only way to deal with this is to stand up and not be afraid and not allow yourself to be intimidated." Amen, brother, to that. You know, Islam is the second leading religion in the world, just behind Christianity. There is, I believe, in the neighborhood of 1.6 billion Christians in the world and 1.3 billion Muslims in the world. So, I mean, really, there's only about 350 million more Christians than Muslims. So, it's disturbing. I want to talk to you about the belief called Islam. It's more than a religion. It's a way of life. It's an ideology. And I'm going to speak further on this in the second video I'm doing today. So, I just want to say Jesus told us there would be false prophets like this. Jesus told us there would be those that go against what he speaks. He warned us ahead of time because he knew it was going to happen. And, you know, Jesus also went on to say that he was the way, the truth, and the life. And there was no other way to God the Father but by him. You know, Muslims even believe that the Holy Bible has been corrupted because you know why? They believe that Ishmael was the one that Abraham nearly sacrificed to God, not Isaac. Okay? That one core lie should tell you what Islam is all about. Alright, listen, I'm going to continue in my next video. God bless you. Pray for this world. Pray for the lost. We need to desperately right now. Good Lord willing, I'll see you soon.